So high school sure sucks. I can't work on my YouTube videos that much. Look at this. 6 videos in 1 year. Still deciding on 6 or 7 total videos for 2025. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Today, I'll be showing you 5 of the most dangerous places on Earth that I thought were interesting. I also have the members of Textbook Stupidity here as well. Let's get into it.
Hit it, boys! Welcome to Squidward's Tiki Land.
Within the Indian territory of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands lives a native tribe called the Sentinelese on North Sentinel Island. Now, what makes the 59.67 square kilometer island so dangerous is that the natives like to kill people on sight the moment they see them. But I don't blame them for being so violent, as they are very territorial and don't want much to do with the outside world. But that also means we don't know a whole lot about the island's history before the British explorers showed up, so we should just start there. The earliest mention of the island was in the 18th century. An East India Company survey vessel was simply passing by the island, with one surveyor stating that he saw a multitude of lights upon the shore. Amazing. Over the 19th century, only a handful of expeditions occurred on the island, but it was in the 20th century when things really started rolling. In 1981, the MV Primrose, a cargo ship delivering chicken feed from Bangladesh to Australia, was being thrown around for an entire night as it encountered a storm. Once they got on the island, they noticed human activity with people emerging from the forest. Worried of a potential onboarding, the 30-member crew began to make weapons and hold out for help to arrive. Help did eventually arrive in the form of a helicopter lift, but that was only after several failed attempts by the Indian government. As far as I could tell, everyone survived. However, the ship was deserted, and you can still view it on Google Earth if you view the northwest of the island. In November 2018, an American Christian missionary named John Allen Chow was killed by the islanders once he arrived. The reason as for why Mr. Chow went to the island in the first place was because he wanted to spread the word of God. The entire trip was deemed very illegal, as for a very long time, the Indian government has made any attempt to cross the 5 nautical miles surrounding the island prohibited. However, that did not stop our most recent victim. As recently as March 2025, another US citizen illegally entered the island to try and film a YouTube video. When he left the island, he left a coconut and a can of Diet Coke as an offering to the tribe.
Blood, Einstein. What is this Diddy blood doing on the calculator? Is blood Epstein?
Hey there! Up next we have the Ukraine... Okay, well, not that part of the Ukraine, but up here, Chernobyl. To keep this brief, as this is not a history lesson, in April 1986, Reactor 4 of the Chernobyl power plant decided it was having a crappy day and had a meltdown. What was the cause? A safety test to make sure things were going smoothly. The explosion ended up leading to tons of radioactivity in the region, leading to eventual restrictions to stop people from entering the area. If you went to Chernobyl with no protection, you would get sick from the radiation. One way radiation affects your body is through your DNA, by either breaking down chemical bonds within your DNA strands, or breaking apart nearby water molecules. Although some cells can be repaired, many likely won't, and if enough cells are damaged, they can lead to things like cancer, organ failure, or death. The types of cancer include leukemia, thyroid, or respiratory cancers, but those would take years to develop. Other short-term effects of Chernobyl, like radiation, would be throwing up, diarrhea, fatigue, hair loss, and more notably, skin burns. Other than health effects, what else did Chernobyl have? Well, there now exists a 30-kilometer exclusion zone around the site. Chernobyl has had a lot of visitors come to the zone, as it's still technically safe. However, visits to the region were shut down in 2020 due to the pandemic, reopened in 2021, and then shut down again in 2022 due to the ongoing war in the country. So now that makes Chernobyl twice as dangerous.
We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame. We'll fight for the gospel.
Now, just looking at the name of this thing tells you all you need to know. It's the Death Valley. You see, in the north part of the Mojave Desert lies nearly 8,000 square kilometer area of barren landscape. And inside the barren landscape, it gets stupid hot. Now, the reason for the intense heating is because of a few factors. Notably, 1, it's barren, the air is clear, there's no vegetation, water, or anything to absorb the sun's heat. 2, the valley is below sea level, meaning the sinking air gets compressed, which causes it to heat up. 3, the heat from nearby deserts gets trapped here. 4, Death Valley is surrounded by mountains, meaning any cold, moist air will likely rain upon the mountain, leaving the valley dry. Although people visit the valley often, it doesn't completely mean that the valley is safe. In the summer, Death Valley often reaches around 43 degrees Celsius. Prolonged exposure to such heat after a couple of hours can cause heat strokes. Some symptoms may include headache, dizziness, vomiting, blurred vision, slurred speech, or loss of consciousness. And death is likely to occur between 90 minutes to 3 hours as the heat intensifies, but the exact time depends on a person's age, health, and other factors.
And I found none. I'll travel at the speed of light. If I'm Santa now, does that mean that I sleep with Santa's wife? Cause I'm down, son. Yeah.
So, we went from human activity, radiation, the heat, and now I think we should talk about the cold. Located on the border of Nepal and China lies the highest mountain in the world, Mount Everest. Mount Everest is over 8,800 meters tall, which is just in the range of the death zone, which is the term used by mountaineers to describe the altitude of which there is not enough oxygen, and pressure, which is not enough to sustain human life. Temperature is something you might want to look out for, although not as cold as Antarctica's temperatures of around negative 40s to 60s. Mount Everest gets around negative 20s and 30s, which is still pretty cold and can kill you in just a few short hours if you're not wearing the proper gear. At such altitudes, you are likely to suffer from acute mountain sickness, or AMS, which is the symptoms closely lined up to what you'd experience with intense heat, those being headaches, dizziness, vomiting, and fatigue. However, other symptoms also include shortness of breath, frostbite, as well as HACE or HAPE. HAPE is when your lungs fill with fluid, which causes shortness of breath. HACE is when your brain swells from lack of oxygen. Both are deathly if left untreated. So yeah, not fun. As of 2025, there are roughly 400 people who have died trying to climb Mount Everest, with 200 of those dead bodies remaining on the mountain. One of the most infamous deceased climbers is, or I guess was, Green Boots. Green Boots is the name of an unidentified body lying on the mountain that died sometime around the late 1990s. The leading theory of Green Boots' identity was that he was Teswang Paljor, an Indian climber of the ITBP who died during 1996 Mount Everest blizzard, but this is yet to be confirmed.
This is Africa.
And for our last segment, just to keep it brief, Dallol, Ethiopia. What makes this place so dangerous is its hot springs that spew out acidic fluids everywhere. This place is so acidic to the point where no life can even exist, with only some microorganisms living in the region, but not in the vicinity of the hot springs or acid pools. Dallol is considered a ghost town because it did actually hold people for a time. In the early 20th century, some Italian and American potash mining companies came on by to set up shop. The town was later abandoned in the 1960s as the environment became pretty aggressive, just like my ex-wife after a couple beers. Since many of the buildings were made of just salt blocks, they corroded and now are just rubble and remains of a former mining site. The last time Dallol erupted was in 2011, leading to dark smoke and ash in nearby villages, and also leaving Dallol to be even more acidic. In conclusion, this place is only really dangerous if you get super close to the acidic volcano, so if you're like chilling outside the volcano, you're doing pretty well for yourself.
And those are some of the most dangerous places on Earth. I want to give a huge thanks to Textbook Stupidity for joining me on this video, and thanks to you guys for watching it. Since this is my last video of 2025, I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Please subscribe. You watched this entire video. I think you should. Remember to stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys in the year 2026.
Move on, 'cause things never last. Just move on, 'cause it goes too fast and the past has passed, so move on. No one likes an ending, so what's with the attention we keep on giving them? Why are we still spending so much time dreading our lives instead of living them? Why do we try to die